All right, welcome to my sewing machine. It's nothing fancy or new. It belonged to my mother, and she got it in the 60s when she was using it then. So it's my hand-me-down, and I love it. But I'm going to not teach you how to use a sewing machine on this tutorial. That would be sort of another subject. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to use the bag, or how to assemble your bag. Now we have 6 of these rectangle pieces. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by picking 2 and placing the one that I want to be the inside of my bag up on the table. So our sideways dolls are going to be on the inside of my bag. And then I need a pair of fabrics, again, that are right or wrong sides together. And again, you want to check the direction of your print. Fortunately, our cute buttons don't matter, but our little girls do. And I want the inside of my bag to be together. So this is going to be the inside of my bag, and then this and the buttons are going to be the outside. Still with me? Alright, now conveniently, like I said, you know, lazy crafter, I don't like to use those little things that measure how far your seam is, and I know it's on my sewing machine here, but what I like to do is just kind of watch the edge of my scallops. So again, this makes it a pretty easy project to do because the scallops build in exactly where they need to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and stitch a seam, and I like to do a little back stitch at the top. Okay, this is stressful sewing on video. I'm not that fabulous a sewer. Again, try not to gasp if you know what you're doing because I kind of borderline there. But I'm going to go ahead and pick this up and clip my threads. Let's see. You can see that I have extra weird bobbin thread sticking out. We're just going to ignore that. Oh, there. Oh, I think I figured it out. I know that I said, you know, doing things the easy way kind of to make projects simple, but that does not extend to your bobbin thread. You do need to make your bobbin thread match your spool thread because you don't want those to be 2 different colors. So we have rectangle. Oops. Okay, here we'll zoom out a little. Okay, I have rectangle, square. The next one is a rectangle pair, and this one is going to be the other side of my bag. So I want the far side of my bag to be little dolls and buttons again. So I'm matching these up, matching my scallops. And if you're not all sure of what I'm working on here, I have the sides of my bag. So I did, here's our finished bag. I started with the rectangles, and then I'm doing the squares, and now I'm adding another rectangle, and then I'll add another square. So I'll go ahead and do that. And again here, I'm going to get my scallops sort of matched up. I know you're thinking that if I'd iron my fabric, this would be simpler, but oh, you're probably right. Maybe I'll iron for the next one. Okay, but in the meantime, you get to watch me struggle. Okay, so I've got my pieces here stuck together, and again, I have the pieces that I want to be the inside of my bag are matching because our seams on this kind of bag go to the outside. See how that works? All right, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch this together again. Okay, so you'll notice the other thing I want to mention is that I'm stopping about the same seam allowance from the bottom of my fabric. That's where I'm stopping because that is where I'm going to need to leave some allowance for putting our bottom on our bag. So I'm going to go ahead and clip that, and I'm going to add the last end panel, the 2 squares, to our bag in exactly the same way. So hang on there. Okay, so we have our 4 pieces together here. We have rectangle, square, rectangle, square. And now I'm going to go ahead and start at the very end, and I'm going to stitch our bottom on. And I'm going to go ahead and stitch it onto all the pieces at the same time. So here is how you're going to start that. Again, with your bottom piece, put your wrong sides together because you want the 2 right sides to show. And I'm going to make this an L shape. L for Loven stamps. Woohoo! And I'm going to match up all of my, we'll zoom in here and get a good view. I'm going to match up, not that close, all of my scallops at the very end, okay? And so what I'm doing is I'm matching the square side with the square side here with the square end of my bag. And if these have shifted a little bit, you just kind of yank them back into place. And now, see, I know you're wondering about my sewing skills, but these are right here matched at the end. I have to point it out now because they're not going to be matched later. We'll just overlook that, right? So we'll hook that under, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch this together down here. And I'm going to start, again, about that 1/4 inch from the edge or however long your seam allowance is. And go ahead and stitch this back and forth once to start it. And then I'm going to go right down the end, and I'm going to stop right there. And the reason I'm stopping right there is that that is where my seam is. And so I'm going to leave my needle down. See, I do know some sewing things. We have to be excited about the little things that I do know. I'm going to leave my needle in, and I'm going to rotate this fabric around so that now my scallop sides are matched up. See how that works? And then if you use your paper snips, you can kind of poke that fabric underneath so that it's not going to get caught up. I'm going to match those. And now I'm going to stitch our bottom, because this is the bottom of my bag, onto the side. And you'll see kind of how this is going to come around this way, and then this is going to fold over. And if you totally don't get it, just hang in there. It'll come together. I almost promise. Well, actually, I do promise, because I could always edit it out if it doesn't. But I'm pretty sure it'll come together. Okay, whoops. That was like a preemptive whoops. There is no problem. Because I stopped right just short of my seam. And I'm going to leave my needle down again. And I'm going to rotate this around and match up. Okay, here's like the part where it almost matches, but not quite. So just pretend it matches, and it'll all work out. I promise. Again, only because of editing. All right, so now I have our bottom of our bag lined up with the next square side. And I'm going to go ahead and stitch along our seam there. And I'm going to stop just short of the corner, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and clip some threads. I realize that, you know, laziness can't really extend to thread clipping because things look so much cuter when the threads are actually clipped. So, all right. And then that gives me my bag with one corner seam not put together. Make sense? So the last thing I need to do is stitch this corner seam. And I'm going to pull this out and match up my scallops. And I kind of like to start at the bottom, so I'm going to start down here. Miss my thread here. A little back and fill, and stitch right up to the corner. Okay, now, woohoo! We have a bag shape. Isn't it amazing how that all comes together? So what I'm going to do now is show you how I attach my handles. I have a piece of early espresso striped grosgrain ribbon, and just like with fabric, one of the awesome things, or just like with a cardstock, one of the awesome things about Stampin' Up! Fabric and ribbon lines is that everything matches. So you know that the early espresso buttons in your Sweet Stitches fabric are going to match up perfectly with the early espresso ribbon. So it really makes things come together nicely and easily on colors. Plus, you get 3 colors of fabric in the ribbon in the fabric package. So, all right. So I just cut my ribbon. I'm going to place this in here. If you are a seamstress, you will use pins to pin that. If you're me, you will not. And then I'm just going to go ahead and kind of line that up where I expect it to go. And I'm going to stitch right across the top to close off the top of our bag. I'm going to use the same seam allowance using my scallops to measure that I did when I was putting our bag together. And I'm keeping the ribbon perpendicular here so that it comes up straight off the top of our bag. And then I will repeat the same process for the other side here. So that now we have 2 handles on our cute little tote. Now if you want to, for stability, you could go ahead and do a stitch right across the top of this one. I actually kind of like to leave it open, and then you can, you know, depending on what you're putting in your little tote, you can add your scissors to it, or your ribbon, or kind of gives you some extra little pockets to play with. So there is our cute tote, but we, I think, really need some embellishments on here. So hang in there and let me show you some embellishment ideas.